Guten Tag and welcome back. In today's video, I want to illustrate how to use Countif and SUMIF formulas and the easiest way to determine which one is the most appropriate given a scenario. The easiest way to remember which formula to use is to first identify what you're adding. If you're adding a column of cells that match a given text, then use the Countif formula. In this worksheet, we're gonna use the Countif formula on this sheet. If instead you're adding a column of cells with numbers, use the SUMIF formula, which we will be doing in this worksheet. The first scenario is using the Countif formula. Here we're going to count how many guardians there are in each class. So whether they're a hunter, a warlock, and titan, we want to know how many there are of each in this column. Useful to note is that I did data validation, so then I can just list the 3 different subclasses here, and you'll see how it'll be useful in the formula right now. Let's go ahead and open the Countif formula. And the range we're looking at is column B. And the criteria we're looking for, this is one way to do it. You can go ahead and type in the name and it'll spit out the number you're looking for. Alternatively, if you're going to be looking at different classes, it's easiest if you just refer to this cell and click enter. That way you can go ahead and look at the responses for all classes. Now let's say instead that we want to count how many guardians there are in each class that have a kill to death ratio higher than 1.67. What we're going to do is open a Ifs formula and include 2 different criterions. So let's go ahead and open the Ifs formula. The first criteria range will be the column B again, B22, and the criteria we're going to be looking at is relative to this cell, whatever text is in this cell. And the next thing we're going to do is we want to know that the kill to death ratio is higher than 1.67. So if column CC22 is greater or equal to 1.67, that's our second criterion, and then it'll give us back the information. So there's only one hunter that has a kill to death ratio higher than 167. There are 5 warlocks and there are 5 titans. The next thing we're going to look at is the SUMIF formula and SUMIFs. Here the SUMIF is useful to add a range of cells based on a criteria or multiple criteria. What I want to look at is add the aggregate total of kills of players that have a kill to death ratio higher than 1.67. So for instance, I want to add all of these cells because the kill to death ratio is higher or equal to 1.67. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the SUMIF formula. You'll notice that I have this cell with a greater to equal 1.67 let's see, reference. I'd rather reference this cell than type it into the formula. This is just the way that I like to work with formulas, so it's relative references. And the range I'm looking at is that if column C, or the kill to death ratio column, is greater than or equal to 1.67, I'm going to reference this cell, then sum the information on column D, or kills per game. And there I have it. 143 are the total number of kills with players that have a kill to death ratio higher than or equal to 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. 1.67. more information on the players who have the lower kill to death ratio, what you can do is, again, do the SUMIF formula, look at the range, column C, C3 to C22, and if they meet this criteria, then go ahead and add column D, or the kills per game. And we'll notice that the players with kill to death ratio lower than 1.67 had a total number of kills of 90. Now let's say instead that I want to add the aggregate total of kills based on class and a kill to death ratio. Then we're going to use a SUMIFs formula, and this one can be a little bit more tricky, and it's kind of funny how they start the formula, because instead of having the sum range at the end like we did right here, this is the sum range. In the SUMIF formula, the sum range is going to be at the very beginning, and then we start listing our criteria. So again, I did data validation so I can refer to the different classes. And I'm going to go ahead and open the SUMIFs formula. What we're going to sum, the sum range will be column D. So we're going to put the column here. And now we're going to move forward to the criteria range and the criteria. So we want to know that if the class, which is column B, is equal to Hunter, Warlock, or Titan, like the data validation that we have right here. Oops. And also that the kill to death ratio, or column C, is greater than or equal to 1.67, then sum range D, column D, kills per game. Enter. Right here it'll have 0, but if we go ahead and click on each class, it'll give us the aggregate kills per game of each class. And we can see that Titan is the superior class. We have Titans with 67, Warlocks with 65, and Hunters with 11. So I hope this was useful. You can determine which formula is appropriate to use by determining if you're adding cells with a specific text, in which case you would use the Countif formula, or if you're adding the values in cells, in which case you would use a SUMIF formula. Thank you for your time.